In the meantime, I will turn it over to you guys. If you want the project wikis there, if there's anything you want to pull up. If not, you just don't have to.
Shaking.
And let's hear about it. Healthy choice.
Oh, I'm gonna log you out of your.
That's fine. Yeah, if you need to log out, Mike.
Should we wait for this or should we start going?
You can, yeah, you can start talking.
All right, cool. All right, so guys, this is called Healthy Choices, the meal planning game.
Wow. Presentation.
I want to show it off. So you open this bad boy, and what do you get? You get the rules. Okay, rules for your, you can check them out just right there. But we also have all the contents of the game inside the box. Now, first thing you want to start with, okay, obviously is the rules of the game. Okay, now each player in the game will receive these in case there's any arguments. And they can go down the rules. It'll be in front of every player. Obviously, if you're doing this in a class, you're going to go over it together as a class beforehand. Just a little, little added extra bonus in case, there's questions that arise up in the game. But we'll go over those in a sec. We also have,
Absolutely.
we also have our game boards, which we want to show off.
Dad, look at all this.
We have our game board. These are your food plates for the game. And if you notice that there's 3 meals, we got dinner, we got lunch, and we got breakfast. And next to each meal, we have 4 card slots because that's where the food cards are going to go. And
Let me just put them on the floor though.
we should, that would be wonderful. We're actually going to demo a little round for you. And then while Earl's doing that,
Nice to have pop time.
So they're gonna show you the cards.
I got the cards. We got breakfast cards. We got flavor cards.
Flavor.
We got
The dairy cards.
Oh yeah, it shows food plates.
these are. Alright, cool. Well, we got flavor cards, we got breakfast cards, lunch, and dinner. And all the cards have on them, they have the food group that they are associated with.
Oh, sorry, I
So-
did that.
If you look up right here,
Touchscreen.
the food card that's displayed right there, it will say a fruit.
Yeah, it's very sensitive.
Sorry, the video is like. Get lunch. The music is not supposed to be playing, but.
Sounds like a game show music.
You want to
Just
just
turn
click?
it down.
You want to just click the mute?
Oh. All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. So, as we were saying, we have flavor cards, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, all of them have the food on there with a point value. And the point value is basically if it is a healthy food, it is a high value. And if it is an unhealthy food, it is a low value. So, something like a fruit or vegetable might be a high point value, and something that is not healthy for us is going to be a very, very low value.
Donuts are 0.
Yeah. So,
Sad.
we're just gonna try to demo a round because we kind of thought this instead of just us talking, you could see how a round is played. So you're gonna start with.
Yes, absolutely.
You're gonna start with breakfast, obviously, because that's round 1. That's the first meal of the day. You see 4 card slots in front, so everyone's gonna have their
No, I'm
own.
gonna give you 3 right now.
Yeah, but should I set these up differently so we could actually play?
Yeah, we can spread out and however you want to do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. I'll hand out
3 for me. Oh yeah.
You're gonna get 3 to start randomly from the dealer. Could be anyone that's playing in the game. It's 2 to 4 players. We're gonna play 4. And 2 flavor cards. Now the flavor cards are the special cards. Think of Uno. They have special values in them. So one might be if you put a fruit down, you could swap one fruit with someone else in the game. Now when you put a food card down, okay, you can throw a flavor card down as well, okay? But you do not have wanna save your flavor card, you can't. If you use a flavor card, you're gonna pick it up just like Uno from the flavor card pile, so that card pile would be anywhere in the middle. We're a little tight on room here, so, I think we should just put it right here. I think that'd be all right. I got my 3. Good to go.
I'll
You
go
have your
first.
cards?
Sure. I'm gonna lay a vegetable juice on my breakfast card because that actually has a vegetable category and also a fruit. So that takes up 2 food groups, vegetables and
Nice.
fruits. And it's 400 points and it's pretty healthy. I like it. I'm happy with that play.
I'll go second. I'm going breakfast. I'm going steamed veggies and eggs. 1,000 points. 1,000 is the highest point value.
I don't know, he had the whole deck.
And hold on.
The whole deck.
My flavor card, my first flavor card, it says artificial sweetener. Play this on a food card. Okay, it could be anybody's food card. Well, I'm gonna put it.
Oh, sabotage.
Thank you. So I picked up another food card to replenish and another flavor
Sorry,
card.
Max, not me too.
You could go now.
Alright,
my turn. My turn, I'm gonna play my food card first on breakfast. I'm gonna throw down bagel with cream cheese, only 400 points, but I'm also gonna play a flavor card this round. And I'm going to trade any one breakfast card in play for another breakfast card in play. So
Oh.
Oh.
I should have played this one early in the game.
There's those ambiguous choices. Ambiguous meaning.
And I'm gonna pick up a breakfast card and a flavor card to fill out my hand again, and
Alright, I'm
Moves
going
on.
to play a breakfast card and I'm going to do a protein shake. With good points.
Do you have
Ready?
to start with breakfast or can you start it anywhere?
Now
Breakfast,
so
lunch.
you're gonna start with breakfast, and there's a separate deck. There's a breakfast deck, a lunch deck, and a dinner deck. So after breakfast round, we're gonna
Oh,
get everything
okay.
together,
I got you.
and we'll hand out the cards for the lunch deck.
Oh, I got you.
Oh, is it my turn already? Okay.
Yes.
I am going to put down a, let's see, I'm gonna do a brew cup. It's only 100 points, but I also want to put a flavor card that adds syrup to these steamed veggies and eggs.
Ew.
Oh.
That's nasty.
So I don't need any more. I would
done it
just-
before. I've done it before. Been there, done that. Crying in the morning, put syrup on the bed.
Alright,
Purge your entire meal at that point.
I'm gonna throw down this is worth 300 points, my fried egg sandwich.
Well, isn't it Tanisha's turn?
No, he's
No.
Oh, you are?
My
Keep
fried egg
going.
sandwich
Yeah,
card,
we just-
300.
We're in
Green.
a line, it's weird.
And I am gonna
Circle's
use one of
probably
my
better.
flavor cards that I picked up. Trade any one food card in play for another food card. So I'm gonna take my awesome steamed veggies back.
Take the syrup with that, brother.
You gotta take the syrup.
I'll take the syrup, but I'll take the 700 points.
It's pretty good anyway.
Not taking syrup off of eggs.
Oh, I need a card.
Once the syrup's on, you can't.
You'll swap it with.
Do you swap?
Yeah, it's a swap.
You have to put your.
Yeah, you have to give me one when you're done. Here, did you get a card?
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't. Sorry. Thank you.
Steve, you stole one as, you gotta put one of yours back with it.
Is there any dairy?
Dairy blue? I didn't see any.
Oh, food card. Yes, sir.
What are the little timer things for on the side? Is that
Scale.
Well,
any significance?
Those are scales, it's to see if we have a balanced meal, so.
Good question.
Oh,
You
they're
got it.
So-
scales, not
we'll get
timers.
there.
So if you achieve in your
Looking at it
if
upside
you
down.
achieve in your round, actually we could probably you guys get the idea of it at this point. If you achieve throughout your breakfast round 4 out of the 5 major food groups, you get a bonus for a balanced meal.
Ah,
So you would get 500 points.
and that would go on this one.
But which may shift if people play cards later on that swap a card with a card and you lose one of your breakfast for something else.
Because after you're done with breakfast, you could still, you may pick
Those
up a
food
flavor
cards are
card that you
play.
could switch to breakfast foods.
You can still.
Even though you're on the
so
lunch round
everything's
or
still
dinner
in
round.
play, even.
Exactly, it's always able to be manipulated with a flavor card, no matter if it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Correct,
This is pretty
right?
cool.
Yes, I
Right.
thought that's.
And then at the end of the game, when the last player plays their card, the game ends. They have that player has one more chance to choose if they want to use a flavor card or not, and then points get tallied up. Highest player wins the game.
And I'm going to play with it without some books.
Can we get those steamed vegetables again?
Yeah, so they're going around. They got syrup on them now. I don't know who wants them.
It's like they're
Yeah.
syrup.
Still
It's
$700. It's like the town bike, everyone's gotten turn on.
The
it.
question is it real
Organic.
maple
Nice.
syrup or is it like
It's
you
official
know,
mail syrup.
log
It's
cabin,
maple syrup you get from Vermont.
So what's the take on sugar-free?
I'm sorry?
What's the take on sugar-free?
Yeah, like
Versus-
fake sweeteners.
Artificial sweeteners in
Bad.
there.
Artificial sweeteners are in here. I think
I
we just
believe
added
the
them.
point value
Mine is
is
100. I put one on.
100,
Did
yeah.
you? Yeah.
And what's my take?
High
on it?
Yeah,
sodium.
I'm legit.
I mean, I think sugar's the enemy, personally. Like, I feel like if you're gonna have sugar-free, it's a little better than sugar at least. That's just my take on it.
Stevia.
Huh? Steve?
Stevia.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great for you by any means, but it still tastes pretty good, and it's not quite as unhealthy as regular sugar, I don't think.
There are only 2 sugars.
Um,
They proved it out. Causes cancer.
Well,
You know what they
you prove that.
Listen, artificial sweeteners minus points, so I think we've covered it. So you want to talk about where we started?
Sure,
The problem of our practice?
right. You want me to
I can
stand
kinda
here?
clean these up.
Okay.
Does anybody have any more
I'll clean it up.
questions with the format of the game?
No, you showed it all.
Yeah.
It was great with the demo because that kind of like pictures worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, cause
And
it's
I
a
can
card
think, yeah, you
game,
could
so.
put it- Never got it.
Yeah.
And it's you know, obviously like we know, it's gonna be like circle formation, they can use their desk or whatever. And the way the official rules, we said dealer, the person to the left of the dealer would start the game off first.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
There you go, here are your cards.
It seems like it'd be fun to play. You know,
Yeah, you guys were having a good time.
I actually
It gets
had,
competitive, as you can see.
Yeah.
It really does, and I think the kids are really gonna.
I had a
like
high
it.
school
Great.
craft demo.
Oh, you did?
On their own. They
what are you guys
really liked
feelings
it.
about?
I keep meaning to tell you.
You're going next week or
Your little
going
picture that you have.
tonight?
He looks just
I
like
mean, we
that
could
little
do it
cartoon
next
Oh,
week.
yeah,
down.
yeah.
I like
I've
the
seen it, I've
steel
seen it, but
aspect.
every time I
Like
see it, I'm
It's
like,
really,
oh my
the
God.
Made it
visual
more
is
interesting.
good, yeah.
I guess whatever you
I
prefer.
think
all of
Like,
your stuff is just
I know, all of
too,
this
like,
is
go with, like,
honestly
your graphics.
Why don't we do it next?
Yeah, I mean, I can
We'll
get
do it
this
next
done in
week.
class.
Okay.
It's like,
Because then
thank
he
God
doesn't have
mine
to
had,
try to
like,
rush
a
over
project
there
that wasn't a
for
paper.
20
It's like,
minutes.
I'm all about this.
And
like, city
Yeah.
You
projects.
guys can all be
Yeah.
here for
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And we've got,
I mean,
we'll have
he's
time
trying to
next week.
figure
I
out
must
if
say
they're
that
gonna
that's
go
something
tonight
that I
or
like
just-
about, I like having a product.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I think that's totally original. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, we'll get into
Yeah,
this
I
in the
agree.
later part of it, but one of our goals that we wanted as a group was to try to think of something you like that no one's ever thought of, like just, you know, no
Yeah,
other
exactly,
rules
yeah.
and that's not similar to anything that we've played, so.
Never seen anything like it.
So that leads us to where the game started. Originally, we wanted to do a health game. We wanted to do a nutrition game because 2 of us taught health, and 1 of us was indifferent and had passion. And well, actually, both the other 2 were indifferent. They were really flexible. They're like, let's do health. Let's do
Yep.
nutrition. That sounds good. So we ended up going with the nutrition game. And at first, it was really complex. It was way too complex for 6th grade nutrition. And probably mostly my fault because I kind of wanted to teach all this stuff that I normally teach them in this one game, which we eventually found out that that's just not, feasible. But after kind of going through many different phases of this game, thinking, okay, should we put nutrition labels on? Should there be, originally the lowest score was the best score, not the highest score. And we used more like calories, the calories of an item or a food product to dictate how many points there were. So we had Doritos worth like 140 because, 140 calories in a serving of Doritos. In reality, and then we had like broccoli as 50 and an omelet is like 700. And we're like, wait a second, an omelet is way more healthy than a bag of Doritos. So we have to totally like.
And our beta testing really helped us with that. I think
That was
Brian
good.
mentioned some good stuff, and some other people were like catching us on all our flubs. So that was
Oh, that
really important stuff.
Yeah, really helpful. And then we were talking about different food groups and having a balanced meal. That was one of the really important things that we wanted to stress. So how do we do that? My man Earl here had all the gadgets and graphics and design products, so he was able to put different food groups on each food. And then our next thing was to just figure out how we get the points. How do we figure out what's healthy or what's not? And we sat down and we compared and we chose a certain amount of foods to get, just to get the idea of this is healthy, this is not. Instead of kind of trying to really force feed a whole lot of information to the students, we wanted to get one goal: making healthier choices rather than unhealthy choices. And that really was a lot simpler for us, and it was simpler for them, and it's more fun for them to play.
And so, yeah, and the game would become like more of a motivator to start off the unit in health and nutrition. So we thought that would be a great way to start the fun, have the kids like sort of buy in, and then we can kind of teach the lesson. Because he's right, the more we tried to like put like, we entertain putting like the actual like ingredient, nutrition fat label on the cards. We'd entertain
gosh.
like doing specific calories, which like as soon as the numbers weren't just 100, 200, 300, 400, it was like more of a math game than a nutrition game. So really for us, it was slicing things out that was more important in
Scale
development
down,
than it was adding all these things. Because in the beginning, we just sat round table and we're like, oh, let's do this. And everyone was psyched and just throwing stuff out.
Yeah, we had so
And
many
we
ideas.
tried to make a game with all of it, and until we started cutting things back, did it really kind of start to take shape. So
And the game was way smoother after we
cut down
cut
stuff.
everything out. We like trimmed the fat.
With the point
completely
values.
intended.
With the high-
We-
Pun intended.
That's right.
that's why I was late working on that one.
I was writing things down.
With high point values and the low point values, that was kind of like our focus on healthy and healthy, but we also wanted to kind of stress the importance of balance, which is why we added the plus 500. At the end there, if you're able to, have your grains, have your veggies, have your protein, hopefully the kids understand that, a balanced diet is better than just eating the same thing over and over and over. So that was another kind of like objective for us.
How much is
Every
price.
Pizza's a decent card though. It's not worth a lot of points, but it's cheese, dairy, grains,
Oh, that's like a wild
and
card.
veggies. So
He
yeah.
said it's a
You're bulking up your balanced meal.
Could be protein too.
You can have it for breakfast.
Yeah, you could.
Absolutely.
Lunch
Cold,
and
cold,
dinner.
best served cold.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Nope. Overall, working with this group was phenomenal. I think Earl did an amazing job with the graphic. And the guys, Steve and Tommy, came up with a concept, and I just roll with it. But I think we utilize Google Docs a lot. We were able to share and just go in and edit. We use our Wix site a lot too. If you go on there, you'll probably see a lot of stuff that were added that is not currently in the game right now. Because I think as we went through the game, we realized that we needed to change some stuff. Overall, I think we did an awesome job. Thanks to our group that tests our game. And it was able to give us an opportunity to see what we needed to tweak in terms of that. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think
Anything else
just
you
in
wanna
terms of our group, I think just like delegating roles was
Mhm.
awesome. Everyone knew what they were supposed to do, and it all came together. And
We had a lot of fun with it.
yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had so many ideas. Still remember the beta testing day. Not the beta testing day, the initial one where we got feedback from the game, and I left and I was like, oh, we gotta do something. And then we talked, and I felt like way better after we talked, because I was like, had like a page of feedback. I was like, yeah, we gotta do something. We tried to make it like too like based on nutritional facts, like the label, and it was just like, yeah, the kids are not gonna be into it, and it's gonna be too much information. They're gonna be lost, and it's gonna be but we narrowed it down. I thought we did a good job.
Great.
Thank you.
It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you for playing our game.
Taking this?
Yeah, I'll take it with me this week. Shoot, and something just popped into my head, and now it already ran out of there.
You can have that one, you don't have to.
Okay.
I'm like,
Oh, I know what it was.
So like,
Um, so one thing maybe just kind of tangential to all this, because in both of the classes we've done and in this program, you can tell that we do a lot of focus on instructional design. That's sort of where everything starts, is having a good plan for things. One of the acknowledged weaknesses of the ADDIE instructional design model, which we do kind of base a lot on here, is that a lot of times if you're following that process faithfully, you kind of get to the end of the road before you get any evaluation on whether what you've done works or not. And so what I try to incorporate with the alpha testing and the beta testing, is a second model called rapid prototyping, which is another way to develop things. And basically that's, rather than having kind of one big arc of design and creation and implementation and then evaluation, rapid prototyping is about getting something out there, even if it's partial, getting feedback on it, making adjustments, sending that back out, getting feedback on it. So it's much more, it's a sort of a smaller cycle. So I was trying to hybridize those two approaches a little bit. And it sounds like from the groups tonight that is useful to get those, even if the game's not ready to be played, to at least walk through what you do have, because you do catch errors. You know, the sooner you can catch errors, otherwise you get to the end and then you discover an error and then you're going, oh, if we'd only, and then you feel like you're having to go all the way back to the beginning. So, so it sounds like that worked out. So, what we think we're going to do, or what we are going to do, is the last group is actually going to present next week, just because they had one member who got stuck at a game and wasn't going to be able to get here till 6:45, and rather than making them rush through that to get up here for 20 minutes, and since we are going to be here next week for a certain amount of time, we'll do the final presentation next week. We'll probably start off with it right at 5, and we'll still have time to do the wrap-up kinds of things that we need to do in addition to that. And so on. So that's just sort of one change to our plan, is that we're going to do the fourth group next week. So not through any fault of theirs or anything like that. That's just the way that these things work. So yeah, so I guess we're mostly there. So let me just quickly go back here and again just kind of recap what's for next week. I did put homework up here, but don't panic about it. So basically, and I said this last night in the 5:30 class too, since this is our final week, maybe just take a moment for yourself and go back through the class Moodle, double check forums. We had a lot of forums along the way. If you didn't get a chance to respond to a post on a forum, still get those thrown in there. Basically what I do there is just go back. I keep a little chart of A, that you did a post, and then B, how many responses you made to other people. Just looking for that kind of feedback. And I know instructionally we're kind of past that material, but if you've got anything like that you missed along the way, just use this week to kind of clean up anything like that. In terms of instructional design paperwork, with the group games, again, since I know a lot of you were using Google Docs or something else to do your work, just verify that everything that's in the wiki on the Moodle is the final version of all of that. Just make sure that's true. Same thing with the gamification projects. Just make sure that your instructional design piece is all complete for that. So essentially, bottom line, just make sure that all your work is done. There's really nothing else after this week now that the games are done. So all you would have this week is just to kind of go through all of that, make sure everything's good to go, so that then I can go through and do all the final assessment. And then again, in terms of next week, there will be now one little change to this. We will start 5 o'clock with this class as normal. We'll do that presentation first and then wrap up. Actually, knowing now that the course evaluations are online, that's actually going to help speed that stuff up. So if you've got that email from the university, go ahead and complete the course evaluations on your own time. I will have a little bit, like I said, of an in-class evaluation thing that I want you to complete. And we'll just kind of talk about final takeaways and what you got out of the class and so on. That piece of it should be done 5:45 or so, maybe a little later than that now that we're having the group go next week, but somewhere around that. So then I think there's 6 of you who aren't in the 5:30 class. At that point, you guys would be free to go. And for the 5:30 folks, we will then do the final 2 presentations and do that class wrap up. And like I said, be out by 7:30. All right. So questions, comments out of tonight? I do want to say that, especially since this is the first time that I've taught this class with this content, it's been a lot of fun for me to watch the process too. In fact, I have a hard time staying out of the picture when I've been watching your groups work. I keep wanting to get in there and be like, oh yeah, well, what if I want to get involved with it. But I've been really impressed with the way the groups work together, with the way you kept your focus on the instructional piece of it, and yet at the same time came up with really fun things to do in the gaming context. So, my hope is that you got stuff out of it. The one thing that I just ask related to the course evaluations, to the online one and to the one I'm going to do, is just particularly if you have anything, and I'll use the word negative, if you have anything about the course, about the way it was presented, about the material, about anything, don't just put it on the university's evaluation. If there's something that you feel strongly that should be a suggestion for change or anything for me, let me know too. I want to hear that stuff. I am a growth mindset individual, so I don't mind hearing, the good stuff and the bad stuff. So I guess all I'm saying is if you've got a comment like that you're putting on the online one, please make sure you put that also in the one that I'll give you in class next week. Just so that I'm getting that feedback directly from you. Because like I said, this is the first chance I've had to teach this course. I inherited it, and any of you who have taken over a class for another teacher know that can be kind of tricky because you're trying to figure out what they did and how they were doing it and fit your own style in on top of it. So, I am definitely looking at ways to improve the class and to, make it more useful. I mean, hopefully it was useful, but to make it even more useful for future students. So feel free to criticize me more or less in person. You don't have to do it just anonymously online. I can handle it. I can take it. So have you ever gone to like ratemyteacher.com? Have you ever looked yourself up?
Yeah.
No, I've done it. I can take it. So, all right. Well, then I guess for tonight, that's it. Again, just a reminder from Dr. Abed, if you are not keeping a laptop through the summer, please bring those in next week for sure, because they've got to go back to Dr. Abed and get turned in. So make sure you do that. And other than that, I will just see everybody one more time next Wednesday at 5.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks everybody. This was fun.
Don't forget your phone.
I won't, I'm giving him the bag so you can
Oh.
put like the,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
I
that
can
way.
I can bring the bag back next week. We have. My wife jokes that she has a bag problem. We have probably.
Bags and
I mean,
Tupperware.
yeah, we're not so bad at that, but she's a costume designer, and she goes to a lot of.
Thank you for everything.
Oh,
Oh,
you're here.
Don't, everybody go.
Turn
Oh,
around.
Go.
Oh, now I feel bad that you.
That's it, too bad.
I just wanted to bring it in here.
Okay.
Everything's in there.
Oh, they
Can
want to
you
do
hang on
it
to it?
though.
Is that all
I
right?
understand.
No.
Do you-
I
Everybody's walking
totally
out.
understand if you guys want to do it because I mean, if
No.
that were me and I was all ready for it, I'd be
No,
upset.
no, I'm not gonna be that guy. Make sure you guys stay late for class. Go.
We're
Go
not
home.
staying late.
We're not staying late. We would have been here till 7:30 anyway.
It's entirely up to you guys.
What do you guys want to do?
I'm not gonna
Do it.
Do it.
He's here.
I
think do it.
Do it.
I respect the show.
I respect the show for sure. I think you should do it.
Okay.
That's
I mean,
just
I'm
my
I'm
opinion.
totally fine with that.
That's just my opinion.
Everyone's up and ready to go. It wasn't me. I forgot.
Better be good.
All right. So yeah. So let's.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Sandy ran.
All right. Sorry for the last minute change.
This is going against the evaluation.
No, well, honestly, if I were like ready to do something.
Oh wait, actually,
you know,
hang on. Before you do that, I want to make sure.
We'll be right to the point.
Make it good, people.
Okay, don't worry.